Hello, good afternoon. Welcome. How are you? I hope you are well today. So today I want to talk about why parenting advice doesn't work and what we should do instead. So this has been prompted by a couple of different things that I saw in the paper on Saturday. The first was a quote by one of the columnists saying, "Why does parenting advice never work?" And I thought that's a really good question. And then the next thing I saw was when I opened up the paper, a different part of the paper, not by that same columnist. I saw a two-page spread full of advice from different people, experts, supposedly experts or experts. I don't know. Yeah, psychologists, um, in about what to do about your kids going back to school. And the first thing that hit me in terms of why parenting advice doesn't work is there's simply too much of it. This article was like, I don't know, about 2,000 words, maybe 2,000 words, and it was separated into 10 points, all with kind of really common sensey type things. But I just thought, well, I'm interested in this because I'm doing loads of Facebook Lives about helping your kids go back to school confidently. So I better read this and find out if there's some pointers in this that I can share with you. And at the end of it, I just thought there's absolutely, I can't remember a single thing that I've read in the last 2,000 words. I thought, well, if I can't remember it, then if I were, if my kid were going back to school, if I had a kid going back to school, and then what on earth, what on earth use would it be if I read it, I'm reading it intentionally. I'm looking for gold. I'm looking for gold in this article, gold that I can share with you. And there was absolutely nothing that I would deem worthy of sharing. So if I couldn't remember any of it, then it couldn't have been gold, could it? And what do we do? What do we do when we read this advice and we can't figure out what to do? Well, we have to wing it, don't we? We have to go with our intuition. We have to go with our gut. We know our child. We know our children. We know what works for them. So we have to wing it, and that's what we're all doing all the time. Not just parents, but all of us are just winging it, and that sounds like a really bad idea, doesn't it? But that's all we can do, because life doesn't work like in 7 steps too. Because the kids never follow the steps, do they? we're assuming that everything goes in this linear. That life is full of linear relationships of cause and effect. And if I do this, if I come from this, my child's going to do this. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do that. And well, the kids didn't come with the playbook, and they don't. The playbook. They don't come with a manual, and they've got their own playbook. So we have to improvise. That's the only thing we can do in life. We can improvise. But the idea of improvising sounds really bad, doesn't it? It sounds like, no, we should have a plan. And who is it that tells us that we have to have a plan? Well, it's people selling us plans, isn't it? If you're confused, here's a plan. I did follow these 7 steps, and your child will go back. Well, it doesn't work, does it? So all we can do is, I see my job as doing, is try and give you a little bit more flexibility. Try and make it okay for you to improvise. I was talking to a mum last week, and she was saying how right from the time that she fell pregnant, everybody had advice for her. Everybody had advice for her. And this advice is, most of it was completely against her principles. It was coming from different people, older people, people outside the UK. She's married to somebody that's not an Italian guy, actually, rather than a British guy. So they have different cultural beliefs, and some of the advice that she's been given didn't fit with her culturally. It didn't fit with the UK culture of way of doing things, and everything. She's like totally overwhelmed by all this advice, and we get really confused. We don't know what to do, and when we don't know what to do, then we just have to do our best, and we're all doing our best all the time. Can you imagine if Boris went on telly saying this, the truth, that, you know, instead he's saying, oh no, we're relying on the science. Well, every country's doing different things, and they're all relying on the science as well. So is the science different? Is the science different? Well, because it isn't, is it? I mean, science, you know, if you put H2 and H2, water is water. It's always two what do you call them, molecules of hydrogen and one molecule of oxygen. You put them together, it's always water. Water is always water. H2O is always H2O. So if we just take that as a scientific thing, the science is always the same. But he can't say that. He can't just say, well, we're doing the best we can, we're winging it, because we're going, oh no, you're supposed to know what you're doing. So he doesn't have to say we're relying on science. Well, if we're all relying on the science, how come every country is done the same, doing different things? Because they're not relying on the science. They're relying on their intuition, their judgment, the data that's coming through, all those different things. And that's what you're doing as a parent. You're relying on the stream of data, i.e. what your child does next. And that's okay. This idea that you should have a plan is only ever sold to you by parenting experts selling you their parenting expert plan. They have to make you feel that you need their plan, or else you won't buy it. So don't know if that helps today. Just we're all doing the best that we can. If I hear one more person saying unprecedented, I'm going to scream. We've been living with this since March. We've all been winging it since March. We've all been winging it since we were born. You were born to wing it, and you've got wings. We'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. You always do. You've got no option. So stop beating yourself up. Stop beating yourself up because you haven't got a plan. Hope that helps. Stay safe. Bye-bye.